We're getting into our first conversation, and like we said, it's formed part of the front page of the news. We've just highlighted it in the previous hour. The deal has been struck between this education ministry and the lecturers. That's represented by Uasu after 49 days of the lecturer strike. And right now we have in studio the national chair of Uasu, Grace Nyongesa, just to give us an understanding of what deliberations took place to get to that deal, and then just walk us through what have been the effects of this lecturer strike. How do we make sure that this isn't something that persists? Lecturers don't always have to be on strike when they're missing out on something that is owed to them, their fair wages. Madam Grace, thank you so much for joining us in studio today.
Thank you for having me, Janet.
It's fantastic to have you. We begin usually with a quote. So Janet will share a quote with you. You can say if it speaks to you, if it resonates with you, or if not, but I doubt that.
Right. Today's quote is by Binyavanga Wainaina. He was a very well-known Kenyan author, a critic, and he once said, "We are a people who are afraid of being honest with ourselves." Do you agree with him?
True.
Yeah?
True.
Why do you think that is? Why are we afraid of being honest with ourselves?
People like to hide behind something. They don't want to come out and really express what they're going through or what is happening around their situation. So Uasu will demonstrate that we have been honest with ourselves and our situation, and we hope that as we do that, the university sector issues will be fixed. Thank you.
Okay. It works when you're honest with yourself because you set your boundaries.
Yes.
And I think that's what you did. I know that this is something that's been going on for 49 days. And I think it was just days ago that lecturers were adamant and saying, we are not returning. And then just days later, we see that it appears to be an amicable agreement and resolution. Walk us through how, within those days, something changed and shifted to get to the agreement that was signed yesterday.
To be able to understand the whole issue surrounding this particular deal that this particular return to work formula that we signed yesterday, you need to understand the historical background with regard to this particular CBA. This CBA, the challenge we have is negotiating our CBS just near the end tail of the cycle.
Right.
And therefore, implementation now becomes a problem, or honoring becomes a problem, because CBS are supposed to be negotiated before the cycle so that they're factored in the budget, and then it if it is salary increment, the members continue enjoying it at the beginning of the cycle to the end. Right. But what do we have when it comes to university CBA negotiations? Negotiate towards the tail end of the CBAs, and this is a challenge in itself. For instance, the 2017-2021, where we were speaking about 7.9 billion, this is a CBA that was negotiated 2017-2021, it was negotiated in 2019.
Oh, wow. So it's backdated.
Yes, it's 2019, October. And having negotiated, it was signed in 2019, October. And having done that, on 25th January, it was deposited in court. On 20th January, it was deposited in court for registration. The court, having registered it, the parties, that's the government, SRC, Ministry of Education, Treasury is usually part of it, and a general, and they went to court to challenge a few aspects of it. And the court had the whole issue, and on 3rd July, it gave interim orders of implementation. So the court found that the total cost of the CBA, the interim orders were to implement 8.8 billion that SRC was saying is the cost of the CBA. But the court said, implement this in the interim as it issues its final judgment with regard to the total cost of the CBA so that it is implemented in full. So the court had the parties, did not agree with them. All the issues were placed before court. The court did not agree with them and said the total cost of the CBA was 16.5 billion. And the court, having determined the total cost of the CBA to be 16.5 billion, it advised SRC, IPUCCF to work with Treasury to ensure that they get the balance of the CBA, which was now the 7.9 billion, and pay. That was in 2021. Then we began engaging as a union. You know, you have to engage the ministry, the parent ministry, so that we resolve the issues. While we were doing this, we were surprised that we come from the ministry, get back to the office, and get an order of stay and an appeal against what the court had said, the judgment of the court. So since 2021, a stay order was obtained, and parties went to sleep having obtained the stay order. At that time in point, some universities have not even implemented the 8.8 billion well. Our members have not been placed in the right salary scales and notches at that time in point. So anytime our members agitated that we have not been paid, we have not been properly placed, we would be reminded there's an order of stay pending in court.
Right.
And so the matter stayed. So having filed the appeal, parties are supposed, court processes have timeline. Parties are supposed to file their further documents, the records of appeal and so on. They didn't do that. So what then happened? In 2024, we moved the court to strike out the appeal because there is no progress. Parties cannot enjoy a stay and are not keen on prosecuting
definitely
the matter. So in this year, 2025, around March, the court threw out the appeal and therefore the stay orders elapsed. And the Attorney General advised the government to pay because the court order was very specific that we revert to the judgment of the court that was delivered in 2021. So we tried to engage before. Then we were told this money has been paid. And as far as we are concerned, this money had never been paid. Because in 2021, we did an audit together with IPUCCF.
What's IPUCCF?
The Interpublic University Council Forum. We did an audit and we all knew, all finance officers from all the universities came. So we were very clear in our minds that what we are owed is 7.9 billion. There was no confusion whatsoever. And I like the quote you asked. The vice chancellors ought to have been very honest with the ministry and told them we owe this money. And not sit back and wait for us to do an audit. Because it's been a journey up to where we are.
But the ministry also knows that
they owe us
that money.
Because what were they appealing against? The 7.9 billion. And when the appeal collapsed and the court reverted to the judgment of the Employment and Labor Relations Court, it meant we should be paid that money. So SRC to come, so when the journey began, I'm sure you had over 624 million being flossed around. We don't know where that figure came from. Nobody had paid the other 7 billion, so that the balance was 624.
Just clarify, they say that the money had been paid, there was a balance of 624.
Yes.
Okay.
Without any specific clarification of how they arrived at 624. And when we issued a strike notice, 7 days is reasonable time for anybody to be able to compute anything and come out with a correct figure. We were told off, we were reminded to go back to school and learn how to calculate. Much as it is water under the bridge, but these are the things you keep in your folder. You don't forget them. So we did an audit. We were referred to a conciliator who said, let's do an audit and see how we arrive at that. How much money had been paid out. So the audit was done between the technical teams of IPOCCF and the unions, the 3 unions represented in the university sector. This was done, and we came out with the 7.9 billion being owed. The technical team of the unions signed the document. The vice chancellors declined, who are representing IPOCCF, declined to sign. This was not very interesting. And you saw now we were out to fully strike.
Right.
But then the Ministry of Education ordered a further audit on their own, excluding the unions, and the money was found to be 7.9. And you could see the sudden change of heart.
And this was this, we were looking at timelines. This is this year. The timestamp for that is which date? Is which this year?
No, now
this is
after
now
we went on strike now.
Okay.
This is now after we have gone on strike,
after
after the Court of Appeal.
Yes.
We have tried to address the issue.
Right.
We have issued a strike notice.
Yeah.
We are already out now.
Sorry. We need to give a little bit of context because a lot of people don't know. When you say like a lot of these CBAs are often negotiated, when they should, or backdated. When the strike began, actually we hosted Dr. Maloba Wekesa, who is the chapter secretary for Uasu in Nairobi. At that time, there was 7.9 billion. There was also 2.1 billion.
2.7.
It was 2.7. And I remember, I think it was a Friday, and at that time the ministry had said, we have sent 2.7 billion. It was Treasury, actually, that was like, we've sent 2.7.
And he said, we've not received anything.
We've not received.
And as long as we haven't, we're going now. In fact, he left here and went.
And it speaks to that trust deficit, because I think the 2.7 did reflect the next week, but now the 7.9 became the pending issue still. But please explain to our viewers and our listeners why there's multiple debts, because this 7.9 billion emanates from a CBA from 2017 to 2020 to
2017 to 2021. That cycle.
Right. Then there was
2.7
billion
is the cycle of 2021-2025. Yes.
So we were up to date with 2022 to 2025. Then now we revert back. Okay. To now 7.9
I'll
billion.
explain that. I've explained the one of 7.9.
Yes.
When the ministry appealed to court, that issue stayed like that until the court's determination. But at the back of the union's minds, we knew we are owed this money, and at an appropriate time, we shall have to demand for its payment. So that is that cycle because it was in court. And if you ask me, those are the matters that we call frivolous appeal. Because there is no way you can appeal to be paid, to stay payment of such an amount of money and go back to sleep. The only reason you can do that is a frivolous appeal just to gag people. So that is what happened for that one. Back to 2.7 billion. It was also on the strike notice. The reason being, we negotiated, last year we were on strike. And if you want to look at the history of our CBS, we must go on strike before we negotiate. After negotiating, we must go on strike before implementation. Can somebody do their job this time round? Lecturers have been very patient. From 2017, the value of that money has eroded. If we were to ask for interest on that money, to be very honest, it is really unfair to the university fraternity. The members, the staff in universities should also enjoy their CBS in time. We don't necessarily enjoy being on strike, but these strikes are, we are pushed by the government.
Yeah, as a result of not honoring.
As a result of not honoring. So 2.7, why it was on the strike notice, we agreed that this money be paid in July this year. And members also have needs, they have children. You know, when you're reminding them, we feel for the students of this country. Because some of our members are also students. People are advancing in education. They have children who now they also want to pay for fees. So they must fight for what is theirs so that they can also meet their obligations. And therefore, 2.7 was supposed to be paid in July. We had to go on strike for that money to be released. Because we tried, we did visit the ministry and told them, this thing is too much. Our members are really agitated. We agreed. The CBA is still fresh. Can we honor? Then we had 3 items, the 2025-2029 cycle, which we had agreed in the CBA last year when we signed the other cycle. We agreed that by February, we will commence negotiations.
February of this year?
Yes, for now the next cycle.
Yeah, for 2025
These are 3 CBAs we went on strike on for different issues.
Yes.
We presented our proposal in February. To date, we have not negotiated, but we have agreed in the return to work formula that within 30 days we should negotiate and register.
Right.
And what is the import of this? The CBA is already accruing arrears. Because from July, when we should have started enjoying, to now, October, we are talking of arrears.
We're still, forever operating
on arrears and backdating.
Yes.
I know you're still, walking us through these timelines.
Yes.
So now, the return to work agreement that was signed yesterday.
Yes.
What does it guarantee? Because I hear you when you say there's a pattern of we need to agitate, we need to strike in order for CBAs to be agreed on, honored. And then on top of that, we need to strike to make sure that the funds are released. So I think based on the kind of timeline you've given us, it almost gives a sense that even what was signed yesterday, and even we heard Constantine Wasonga say, there's almost no guarantee that anything will change. Is this different now, this return to work? Do you get a sense that now you're cooperating with the ministry, now they understand what needs to be done? Or is a part of you saying, this is a temporary band-aid, we'll just get back to what we usually do?
We are hoping that the government will honor, unless there is no value for education in this country. Unless someone does not value education in this country. We hope they will honor. Our members wanted to remain on strike until we get the entire amount, and we pushed for it. We are Kenyans. We love our country. We are patriotic. Nobody should sit back and say the lecturers of this country are not patriotic. They are. We have taught students, we have graduated them, even as we were quietly waiting for this money. So we hope that somebody will honor. Because if you see the way our members in the public universities came out to strike, I think it was at a different level. You saw people with Dera. You didn't miss that. That was strike at a different level. People are agitated. People are angry.
The agitation has been there, and I will get into the actual return to work formula in a few minutes, because it's good to know what's on the table and also what's the plan for learners who've missed 49 days, right, across public universities in the country. But I want to talk about the CBA conundrum. What's the fix? I don't think it's sustainable that we continue to negotiate CBAs when we should already be having them. For example, you're saying we're already at the 2025-2029 one, right? Now, that's when we're looking into the specifics of it right now, and we're already in November of 2025. So it'll be, again, backdated, there'll be arrears, we'll be in the same problem. So what's the fix for that? Is there a return to work policy that is permanent, that fixes this problem permanently, whether it's a cost of living adjustment yearly, an inflation adjustment yearly, something of the sort? And I think we asked the same to Dr. Malo, but it was a hope and a wish, but never anything solid, because this is not sustainable.
Thank you for that question. What I know is that we have hope. unless we are disappointed. And the next strike would get worse. We have hope. The reason I want to say so.
My question.
Yes.
How do we avoid the strikes? How do we?
I'm getting there.
Okay.
Thank you very much. How do we avoid? I was getting there.
Okay.
Because the reason I'm saying we have hope is now we have a return to work formula. We have agreed to negotiate this CBA within 30 days. So even if we are in arrears, it's a few months. From July to now, it's a few months.
Yeah.
So we are hoping that we are able to negotiate so that we can now implement moving forward. We don't accrue arrears. Because when you accrue arrears, this figure looks big. But in actual sense, it is not big because it is supposed to be divided across all the employees of the university, not only lecturers, but we have KUSU and we have KUDEHA members in it. So we have hope that with this particular return to work formula, we are able to negotiate the CBA within the period we have agreed so that we don't accrue more arrears moving forward. Because like I've explained, 2017, 2021, it is only in 2020 that we are seeing some little light. That means about 2-3 years have
Into
gone.
the CBA.
Yes, into the CBA. So we are hopeful that if we are able to negotiate so that we implement moving forward, we will not accrue so much in terms of arrears.
I hear you, Grace.
Yeah.
Still.
I was just going to say, I'm still, I think to Mariam's point, I'm like, hasn't there been hope and promises in the past? So what is then the permanent,
Right.
where's the permanent guarantee?
Right, to break us out of the CBA cycle, the strike, CBA, don't honor, strike, CBA, don't own. That's the cycle we're in. What's the permanent fix for that? Is because it can't just be 3-4 year CBAs, not honored, strike, another 3-4 year, or partially pay, okay, strike again, CBA, we'll be stuck in
And
that
to,
loop.
and to Uasu's credit, I think, you know, it's almost like even as we ask Grace, the onus is also on the other.
On the ministry.
On the ministry, because I think that's what I'm also trying to reconcile. But to Mariam's point, what's a sustainable, what can be a sustainable nature of a kind of CBA?
Let the government just honor the CBA.
Okay.
I'll just repeat, let the government honor our CBAs. Are you seeing teachers out? They're not out. Let the government honor the CBAs that we negotiate. These are serious instruments, serious documents, registered in court as judgments of the court. Let the government honor. That's the only thing. On our part, we have done our best, appearing, negotiating for our members, fair terms and conditions of service. So the honors is on the government to honor.
Okay.
I hear you.
For us, no, after we negotiate, what else can we do? Because
Other than hope. And
You could also table suggestions on how to move forward, without having to do the CBA strike cycle. And I'm thinking, and we'll look for best case scenarios from across the world, whether it's cost of living adjustments yearly, clear, whether it's job grades and their salaries and their benefits that are clear, and then you adjust for inflation, you adjust for cost of living on a yearly basis, so that you don't have to come to the negotiating table every few years.
Madam Grace, sorry, we have to take a break.
A really short one, yeah.
And I think based on Mariam, it's to think through.
Yes.
What muscle can you now pull and say, this is how we want to put an end to this cycle?
Yes.
Because again, where's the guarantee? If they guaranteed over and over again for the previous CBA agreements, how do we know that they're not going to pull back on it this time? But we're in studio with the National Chair of Uasu, Grace Nyongesa. We're talking about the university lecturers deal. We'll come back and unpack exactly what it means, and also think through, as Mariam said, what it also means for the students who've missed out on learning. It's coming up to 7:30. We'll be back in a moment.
Good morning. My name is Joseph Odundo. Today I choose to fix the nation by talking about what is going on in East African community, mostly when we see what is going on in Tanzania. I had some people say that, or some leaders say that we should stop engaging in whatever is going on in Tanzania. Now, I choose to ask this question because whatever is happening in Tanzania will soon maybe spill out to our border country in Uganda. Then if it spills to Uganda, 2017, it's Kenya. So they settle, we'll be in Kenya. Now, you see what is happening around in Kenya? The same Gen Zs are not in school. They are finished university. Now, I choose to fix the nation by telling our leaders to go back to these young people and talk to them, give them initiatives, give them hope. Because if you don't go down there, I tell you, the coming election, things will change.
Thank you so much, Joseph, for that Was Up Nation. He sent us a wonderful Was Up Nation, and he's absolutely right. Like, unaangalia kwa jirani na wewe, unasema, no, not me. Watch out, right? 0112 500 400 is the number to send your Was Up Nation to. 0112 500 400. Put your phone in landscape, nice and flat like that. Tuambie jina lako, tuambie uko wapi. What are you doing to fix the nation? What do you wish could be done to fix the nation? Also show us around. Kama uko kwa shamba yako, tuonyeshe. Let's have a good view. If you're at the lakeside, watu wa Homa Bay, tunangojea zenu, and Kisumu City. If you are herding your goats, just give us a view into what you're doing to fix the nation. It could be you feel like it's small, but no, it's your bit. You feel like it's big, yes, it's your bit. Send it to 0112 500 400. Or say, my name is Grace Nyongesa, and my bit in fixing the nation is ensuring that lecturers around the country are fairly remunerated and on time for an amazing and functional public education sector. That's my bit in fixing the nation.
Co-sign?
Yeah.
You've co-signed that one?
Yes, absolutely.
Joseph Maingi on YouTube says, government cannot deny lecturers their right so that they can have money to waste and steal. Kila mtu apewe haki yake. Keep the fight and never give up until your demands are met, and good luck. That has come from YouTube. We continue our conversation with Grace Nyongesa, the National Chair of Uasu. If we take a look at a glance, the strike period, September 17th, early November, affected was 600,000 plus students. And then there was a breakthrough moment, late night meeting on the 4th of November 2025. Key intervention, Deputy President Kithure Kindiki personally mediated. Total amount agreed, 7.9 billion shillings for public university staff. First disbursement, 3.8 billion scheduled for November 2025. Remaining allocation, additional funds in December 2025. Trigger for stalemate, delays in releasing CBA funds, arrears. Rejected proposal, SRC wanted arrears staggered in 3 installments. That just captures the what, the why, the when, the how. And then hapo kwa SRC. Mariam, just before the break, you'd asked something about that fix.
Yes.
Yeah, and trying to think through what does it look like beyond the CBAs, given that historically it's shown that they're not honored. What else can we look to? I know Grace has said, for us, we are hopeful. We are doing our bit. There needs to be implementation from the government side, but there also need to be other stakeholders who hold true and steady to what has been agreed on.
Yeah.
But yeah, you'd ask something around, okay, how else can we look beyond the CBAs?
Beyond the CBAs. So, and I was looking at best case scenario, best case studies globally of where they've gotten it right as far as paying lecturers, teachers, any public servants as well. So Chatty has given me a few examples, including in Finland, for example, so some of the things that are working there, teachers and lecturers are treated as high status professionals, which is true. There are strong entry requirements into the profession, including like a master's degree is very common. Salaries are set by collective and sector agreements, and public funding is stable. So the system links career progression, working conditions, and a pedagogical trust rather than ad hoc pay battles. So it's when you get to this level, this is the pay grade. Okay, fantastic. After this many years, this is the adjustment, and so on and so forth, so that you don't have to strike or go into a CBA. Then there's also Nordic countries like Sweden, Norway, Denmark. I think, of course, these would be the best case scenarios. Usually, they are. But they have a very high coverage of collective agreements across education. So they do unionize, same as here. collective bargaining agreements, but they are long-standing. And of course, they negotiate pay like all at once and social partnerships as well. So then that means that there's less unpredictable industrial action and the pay is fair and comparable across regions. So CBAs still, but longer term, so that in 10, 20 years, you're not, okay, maybe 10 years, I'll check for the exact numbers, but you're not having to go back to negotiating table.
Every 3 to 4 years.
3 to 4 years, yes. In Germany, German academics are paid on formalized public pay scales. These scales vary by state, but give predictable salaries, step progression, and benefits. Professorship pay is comparatively generous, and rules reduce arbitrary pay decisions. So clarity, basically. Progression looks like this, benefits look like this, salaries look like this. You get to professor, fine, it's super lucrative. And I think the predictability of it as well gives safety.
It gives safety. Based on what Mariam has just said, Grace, the two questions I want to ask is, would it actually make a difference if the CBA agreements were longer term? Because I feel like the motivation may not change. If they're already playing games with 2 to 3 years, would a 10-year CBA perhaps be something that you would propose?
No.
Okay.
The 4-year cycle is good.
Okay.
And I think it's conventional. Most jurisdictions would have that because of rates of inflation.
That's true.
For 10 years, it would really be too much to wait if you have the same fixed salary.
Yeah.
But CBA negotiations is conventional. It is international. Most jurisdictions are members of ILO. The guidelines are there. So negotiation 4-year cycle is good. If you ask me if 2 years, if there was goodwill to just honor,
that would be,
and the onus is on the government.
Yeah.
That's not a question for us. Ours is to negotiate the terms for our members. Honoring is on the part of the government because negotiation is our right under the Constitution. And so we do our bit as unions.
Right. I want to get into now the deal. We will strike until we strike a deal. We've struck a deal. Tell me about the return to work formula, what it guarantees, what were the give and takes, sort of, because compromise has to be reached somehow. But let's start with, what's the formula for getting back to work?
Okay. The formula for getting back to work, thank you very much for that question. The formula for getting back to work, number one, when people are out on strike, there are threats from the employers, of course. And the first thing is to ensure we guarantee the jobs for our members. Some had been issued with shockers letters, interdiction, suspension, illegal lockouts. Because a lockout is also, it must be formally given.
Laws.
So all these things were there. Our members were locked out, not allowed to enter the university premises. So we first of all have to secure jobs and ensure that all those things are dropped so that we are able to now move forward together as a community. Then we had to agree on the plan, the payment plan, which Janet has read out. Payment of the 7.9 billion in December, the first installment of 3.9 in December, and the second installment. This was a give and take. We wanted the lump sum before we go back, wherever the money would be found, because we are citizens of this country. We can see money flying everywhere, every day. Where are the priorities for this country? Are we not a priority in the education sector and higher learning sector? Are we not a priority? So our members were adamant. We want this money paid at once. But like I said, as citizens of this country, we are also keen on moving the country forward. We had a meeting with the organs of the union, the National Executive Council and the National Delegates Council, and gave the government's proposal. The first time when they gave us the 3 tranches, they were running up to 2029. 98% of the Delegates Council voted no, will not accept the 3 tranches and spreading that far. Remember I mentioned about interest. If we are not asking for interest at this time and point, why can't we get this money at once? Because its value has eroded since 2017. Then, so we then went back, and like you have read, the Deputy President assisted in the, just trying to negotiate, to discuss. And the offer of 2.2 tranches came. Still, our members were not keen on it. But we were invited by the Education Committee, the Parliamentary Education Committee, and we appeared before them. And we were able to present our petition strongly. But again, we are members of this country. We are citizens, patriotic citizens, so to speak. So we were able to now go back to our members and tell them, this is what the government has offered. And they gave us a leeway. If there is if the one tranche cannot be accepted, we will, albeit reluctantly, accept the 2 tranches to move the country forward. So we accepted that, and it had to be entrenched in the return to work formula with specific timelines.
Yes.
So that we do not have to go out on strike. If you see us on strike because of the arrears of this particular CBA, then somebody's sleeping on their job. We will have done our bit.
We have the dates clearly.
Yes.
So and he said even as early as next week we can go back.
Yes.
If you decide.
As early as next week we can go back is if there are so many aspects, including withdrawal of disciplinary processes that had been commenced against our members. There are university vice-chancellors who mismanage processes. We will have indicated this in the return to work formula, and somebody wants to go against it. So we are watching as union. That's part of the agreement.
Yeah, it's not just money.
Yeah, so when we talk about next week, it's not about money only. It is so many things put together. We have also agreed, we've been out for 49 days, that's practically 7 weeks.
Yeah.
We want that particular period factored in as the semester begins, so that no vice-chancellor is telling anybody to ensure that they teach within 3 weeks and administer examination.
Right.
So that also is part of the agreement to be honored, so that we ensure we have quality education delivered.
So as it stands for learners, the semester will begin now, next week I'm assuming,
Yes.
on the 10th of November.
Yes.
And end when?
No, that is now for different senates of the university to decide. Different senates. Remember, by now, some universities had closed down and sent the students away.
Yeah.
So others, the students have not gone on. Probably Senate will decide, let's start off by Monday. So if that be the case, but that period must be factored in. Those who have to allow students to come back on campus because they had closed down, they'll also decide, but that period needs to be factored in to ensure quality delivery.
So that they still have the same number of learning weeks as they would have had this strike not happened.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that also will effectively now go into next year, will affect next year's calendar.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's what we had talked about earlier. We were trying to figure out how to reconcile the academic calendar recovery. But you've already mentioned there's different scenarios for different people.
But guaranteed, yeah, it will definitely
it'll spill over
into the other year.
It will spill over, but somehow along the way, it will correct itself because we usually have the long holidays in between. Yes.
Okay.
I wanted to talk about and I know we're still going through the different elements of this. Staff victimization. No staff will be victimized for participating in the strike. That's something that I think I know for a fact I'm a bit worried about that, because that would be a shame. Is there a concern that that's something that could still be an issue? Number one. Number two, how has this affected morale for lecturers? I worry that also sometimes people are like, what am I doing in this industry, as passionate as I am? So talk to us about the victimization and how to guarantee that that doesn't happen. And number two, talk to us a little bit about how this has affected morale.
Yeah, and of students as well.
Yeah.
Because we've seen them as well just complaining about 2 months of lost time, essentially. And those are 2 months you will never recover.
Never recover,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on victimization. That is why we have it in the return to work formula. And that's why we are going to monitor to ensure that nobody defies this. So until we get there, anybody defying, you shall see us in action. But as it is in the return to work formula, and this return to work formula is going to be deposited in court. Because when we went on strike, IPUCCF moved to court to try and interdict the strike, pending conciliation. So they had that, the order up to conciliation. Beyond conciliation, in my view, there was no order. However, like I've mentioned, the kind of victimization, the nature of victimization that members were encountering. So now that we have the return to work formula, and we're going to deposit it in court as a consent agreement between parties that shall be honored. If there's anything beyond that, we shall deal with it.
Okay.
Yes.
Student morale and staff morale.
Staff morale, lecturers, like I said, we are patriotic. Even as the employers moved to court and we knew we are owed this money, we continue delivering our services. We have graduated students. Our lecturers know how to adjust and deliver once the government honors its side of the bargain. Our members swing back in action immediately. There should be no problem. There should be no problem. They will honor and adjust their timetable and teach. For students' morale, I think that is for the government to answer. And why I'll say so is, why would you allow students who have just reported, like first years, who are excited to be joining university? Why would you allow such students to be out for 49 days if you're a government that cares? That would be best answered by the government. What do they think about their own students? What is the morale? Yes.
2 months in, a lot has happened as far as the negotiations behind the scenes, right? I want to get into now, going forward, some of the fixes that we've discussed, the relationships between university lecturers and staff, and then whether it's vice chancellors, chancellors, and the ministry. What's the fix there, so that we make sure that we're all reading from the same script, and it's for the betterment of the students and, of course, the education sector in the country, and for the welfare of academic staff in the universities as well?
The relationship between, if you had my Secretary General submit even in Parliament, that a study needs to be done on how vice chancellors are handling, IPUCCF and vice chancellors in particular, are handling staff in the universities. How staff are motivated in the universities. A lot of things are happening in the sector that need to be fixed. This CBS contains a lot of things that affect the welfare of lecturers. For instance, pension schemes are collapsing in universities. You serve for years. At the end tail, when you're expecting to get your pension, the pension scheme collapsed. Technical University has no pension scheme. It's a very sad state of affairs. And if you find a vice chancellor such as that, even threatening staff when they're on strike, it kills the morale of those staff. And some universities are going to be on their own strike, even after the national one, because of internal issues.
Right. Like those pension schemes.
Like pension scheme is one of them. People don't have a medical cover. So why we are pushing for negotiation of the CBS is so that we have a medical cover that ensures our security when we are unwell. It is very sad. I'll talk about NHIF when we were contributing. This money would be deducted from us. Quite a number of universities are not remitted to NHIF. So you don't have a medical cover, you cannot be treated using NHIF. It's a sad state of affairs. It's not,
which is an illegality. We'll start with that.
Itself, yeah. Absolutely.
And we've spoken about it on the show
morale,
before.
vice chancellors need to work hard, and councils of the university need to open their ears and listen. Wasikize ground. Things are not what sometimes they hear in the boardrooms. and then they go away. They must be able to listen to the ground, understand what is happening in the universities you're managing. When people don't have a medical cover, when people's pension schemes are collapsing, when people are not even paid, and SRC is a culprit in this thing, when they're advising on certain things, they really need to be guided appropriately.
Let me ask, as a final question, because we're about to wrap up, when we are in this cycle again of demands not met, strikes, CBAs, I think we lose the essence of what universities should be doing. Providing education, first and foremost, centers for research, for, progression. Ideally just a hub of ideas. That's what, a university should be. What's the fix for that? How would we get back to the glory days? I saw the University of Nairobi drop in the global indices, for example, for best ranked universities. And they're like, okay, what's happening there? How do we get back to the glory days of Kenyan universities and make them not just a place for negotiating CBAs and getting a degree, but That's a really good question. And on top of it is. And on top of that, beyond lecturers' needs not being met, are there also other factors that have actually brought down our rankings?
Proper funding of education in the university is key. Proper budgetary allocation to the university sector. Let proper funds be allocated to universities. Let universities not be underfunded. When we talk of salaries, for instance, that they have to use their own resources, internal generated resources, to be able to top up on what the ministry is giving them, even for salaries.
Right.
It's really a sad state of affairs. For me, there should be proper funding in the university sector. And I can tell you, you'll see a big change. Because even the research fund, is it there?
Is there a research fund, actually?
Our members, when you talk about research and innovation and so on, our members even given these funds. You'll find even members who apply for their own research funds, sometimes they have to attend certain meetings. They are not even allowed to go by some vice chancellors. And then you wonder, where are we in this country? So for me, funding to the university sector really needs to be improved.
Is there a research and innovation fund in universities, in public universities?
Do we get it?
So it exists on paper?
It is there, it exists on paper, but do our members access it?
Let me ask you, Grace, just before we wind up, I know not all factors can be great all the time at the same time, but was there a moment that you felt during this period in the country, universities were being funded well, research funding was there, lecturers were not constantly striking? Was there a window that existed? I'm sure it did. But can you take me through the last time you did? I'm trying to recapture some of what is lost. But do you remember a time when there was a sense of respect and honor for lecturers enough to pay them well and universities were thriving in the last decade or two?
I think the person who began fixing, so to speak, is the late Honorable Mike Kibaki. At least we saw some light at that time in point. And things seem to be working. It's unfortunate that we are deemed to be people who are just looking for our money, striking and so on. But a demotivated worker is not going to deliver much. Although I must commend our lecturers. They have really done their best amidst the challenges I've said. When you're teaching and you're not even sure that if you fall sick, you'll be treated, it is sad. So around the period, the era of Honorable Mike Kibaki, we saw some improvement. Salaries were improved. House allowance was improved. And that was a plus. But at the moment, we are asked to retain house allowance that was given in 2008.
Wow. Okay.
I think there's a huge problem. Let there be proper funding in the sector, and I think we will fix things. And the vice chancellors also need to be honest. There's no money, there's no money. Don't get to the when you go to the ministry or
you want to make them happy,
the head of state, you tell them what they want to hear,
as opposed to telling them the truth.
The truth.
Okay.
Tell them what is happening on the ground.
All right.
So that we can fix the.
We'll leave it at that for now, Grace.
She's spoken about funding, and I'm still looking at the front page of the Daily
capitation.
Nation. Yeah, capitation for learners reduced from 22,000 to 12,000 per year.
We have a deprioritization of key issues in this country. But that was Grace Nyongesa, National Chair Uasu, taking us into the university lecturers' deal and saying they're still keeping a keen eye. Tomorrow, next week, if anything shifts, we'll continue to hear about it, and really just wishing all of them the best. In the next hour,